So, I'm a writer, a storyteller before all things. The album's worth of music that I wrote last summer is a concept album that transcribes a narrative. I write, or I try to write, in as many different mediums as I can, so that means plays. I wrote a play that got staged in grade 11. Screenplays. I'm going to finish my short this summer, even if it kills me. Novels. I have a 50,000 word draft under my belt. Comics. I did a short-lived webcomic, and there's some other stuff that's happening as well. What's so weird about writing in all these different ways isn't just the subtle differences in the formatting, but the way those differences affect the restrictions and the demands put on the writer, and the way in which each individual writer finds their own rules to break or to make. Plays are composed of almost all dialogue and very minimal stage instruction. Take, for example, Shakespearean scripts, in which all of the emotion and action is conveyed through the words that the characters speak. The scripts of Harold Pinter with his signature use of the words pause or silence. I was guilty of completely violating that formatting in my first play that was staged in grade 11. There was so much emotional direction and physical direction, telling which arms people would be holding stuff in the script itself, that when it came time to direct it, there was no space to breathe. Screenplays are similar to plays, but you're supposed to give camera angles and shot descriptions as well. However, you're not supposed to give overly detailed descriptions of the space or the characters that are filling them, so you're being asked to visualize these things while not conveying your visualizations. While I was writing the script for my short, I was thinking directorial thoughts as well, because I was the director as well. So I distinguished between the text that was relevant to just me as the director and the text relevant to my actors by using a red font. For example,
open on an extreme close-up of grass. The camera begins to simultaneously track forward and tilt up onto a pair of shoes. The track slows and the tilt sharpens to go up the body of the boy wearing the shoes. Brandon. He has his legs pulled up and is bent over himself, his head resting on his knees. He's holding an old camcorder in his hands, crossed over his legs. The camera pauses on his face in a low-angle close-up, his expression full of contempt, before pulling back, lining Brandon's face up with the right vertical axis according to the law of thirds, horizontally centered. Michael enters from the right with the guitar as the camera is pulling out. The guitar is along the left vertical axis at the same height as Brandon's face, and Michael's face is lined up with the upper horizontal axis, just off the crash point.
Should read to an actor. Open on a high-angle extreme close-up of grass. The camera begins to tilt up onto Brandon. Michael enters with the guitar. Novels offer writers the most ridiculous freedom in what and how they can write, but there's the infamous trap that novelists can fall into, the description trap. I've seen the finger pointed at born author Robert Ludlum or at George R.R. Martin of Game of Thrones fame, but you know who really is the most horrific violator of falling into this trap? That's right, me. From the 50,000 word draft of my novel Time Harbor. He held the measuring tape to Roy's shoulders, then his arms and waist before taking a knee and measuring his inseam. Roy looked up, surprised, as he had obviously never been measured for pants before. He looked at Tyler, his eyes screaming, "Help me!" Tyler looked at him and waved his hand up and down as if he were patting a very tall dog. His eyes said, it took Rory a good half hour to go through just the shirts that Handy had picked out for him. At first, it was entirely hit or miss. The frilly shirt and tight skinny pants really didn't work for him at all, and neither did the hysterical laugh. When it came to the pants, Roy found himself in trouble. And so on. Now, I also want to talk about comic strips, but I have an awful lot to say on the matter, and I don't want to make an overly long video, so I guess I'll have to make this one a two-parter. So exciting. I feel like a movie star.